What if I told you that Johnny Depp, one of the most recognizable faces in the world, isn't chasing perfection at all? Not the perfect image the media wants him to have. Not the flawless life magazines love to paint on their glossy covers. Not the kind of purity people think celebrities spend their entire careers trying to protect. No. He's after something different. Something that most people overlook. Something we're all quietly searching for, even if we've never put it into words. And here's the twist, it's not purity. It's not about being the good guy, or the hero, or the flawless role model. It's something far more human. Something raw. Something unpolished. Something deeply honest. He's searching, just to be human. Now, at first, you might hear that and think, that's it? Just to be human? We already are human. But you and I both know, living as a human and being allowed to be human are two very different things. In a world where everyone expects you to be polished, perfect, and without flaw, simply existing as you are becomes a rebellious act. And when someone like Johnny Depp, a man who has spent decades in the public eye, says this, you listen differently. Because here's a man who has been at the very top of the world, and at the very bottom of it. He's been loved like a legend and dragged like a villain. He's been celebrated and condemned, sometimes in the same week, sometimes in the same day. And after all that, he's not chasing purity. He's not trying to be spotless. He's not trying to erase his flaws or pretend they don't exist. He's embracing them. And in doing so, he's holding up a mirror to us, asking, what are you chasing? Think about that question for a second. Not just casually. Really think about it. What are you chasing? Is it approval? Is it safety? Is it a certain version of yourself you think will finally make people love you? Now look around. The world we live in almost forces us into performance. Social media has turned life into a stage where everyone's watching. Every post, every story, every picture, every little detail, curated, filtered, edited, cropped. We show only the good angles. We hide the messy parts. We erase the things that might make people see us as less than. But here's the truth, behind every perfect feed is a real person. And that real person has days where they can't get out of bed. They have nights where they lie awake, replaying every mistake they've ever made. They have moments where they feel invisible. Moments where they feel like they're not enough. Johnny's saying it's okay to show those cracks. It's okay to stop pretending. It's okay to stop holding your breath, waiting for the moment when you finally become perfect, because that moment doesn't exist. And that's the exhausting part, isn't it? Keeping the mask on all the time. Trying to make every part of your life look neat, shiny, and controlled. We do it to avoid judgment. We do it because we don't want people to think less of us. But all it really does is disconnect us, from ourselves, and from each other. Now imagine letting go of that. Imagine saying, this is me. All of me. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the messy. That's freedom. And that's the kind of freedom Johnny's talking about. But here's the thing, it's not easy. We're taught from the very beginning to hide our flaws. To tuck away the dark parts of ourselves where nobody can see them. We're told to smile when we're sad, to look strong when we're falling apart, to stay quiet when we have something that might not be well received. But those shadows? They're part of us too. The mistakes, the regrets, the impulses we don't understand, they live in the same heart that loves deeply, laughs loudly, and creates beauty. Being human means being a mix of light and dark. Johnny's learned to live with both. That doesn't mean he's proud of every decision he's made. It doesn't mean he doesn't have regrets. But it means he accepts himself as a whole person, not just the carefully polished, good parts. And there's real power in that. When you stop pretending your shadows don't exist, they stop controlling you. When you stop chasing a pure image, you stop living for other people's approval. You stop being afraid of being found out, because there's nothing left to hide. Here's the truth: people connect far more deeply with honesty than with perfection. Think about the people you trust the most. They're not the ones who look like they've never stumbled. They're the ones who can look you in the eye and say, "I've messed up. I've been where you are. And I know what it feels like." Johnny's career, his public image, his life, they've all been shaped by this openness. People don't love him because he's flawless. They love him because he's real. Because he refuses to fit neatly into a box someone else built for him. And part of what keeps him human is curiosity. Most people, after they've seen it all, the fame, the money, the awards, they get bored. They stop exploring. They stop asking questions. They stop learning. But Johnny? He's still curious. Curious about people. About art. About music. About the little, strange details of life that most people rush past. And that's an important point. Staying human isn't about arriving at some final, perfect version of yourself. It's about staying open. Staying interested. Letting life surprise you. The moment you stop being curious is the moment you stop growing. And here's something else: connection will always matter more than perfection. You can impress people with a perfect image, but you connect with them through your imperfections. Through the slip-ups, the awkward pauses, the moments you say, "I don't know." Think about the strongest friendships or relationships you've ever had. They didn't get that way because you only showed the polished parts of yourself. They got that way because you let someone see the messy parts too, and they stayed anyway. This is what Johnny's talking about when he says he's searching to be human. It's about showing up exactly as you are, not just the highlights. So how do we do that? How do we live that way? First, stop editing yourself so much. Yes, present yourself well. Yes, care about the work you put out into the world. But don't erase the quirks, the weird habits, the offbeat thoughts. Those little things that make you, you, are often the things people end up loving most. Second, get comfortable saying, "I don't know." We live in a world where not knowing feels like weakness. But actually, it's a kind of strength. It says you're honest. It says you're teachable. It says you're not pretending. And third, balance self-acceptance with growth. Accepting yourself doesn't mean settling. It means you can look at your flaws without shame, and still choose to work on them. Here's a truth most people miss: the moments you think make you look weak are often the moments that make you most relatable. The story you fumbled. The time you laughed until your stomach hurt. The time you admitted you were wrong. Those are the moments people remember. So ask yourself, if you stop trying to be perfect, what would you let go of? Would you stop filtering every photo? Would you stop pretending you're okay when you're not? Would you stop apologizing for simply being yourself? Because the more we lean into our humanness, the freer we become. Johnny's not just talking about himself here. He's talking about a way of living. A way of stepping off the exhausting treadmill of perfection and stepping into something real. We all make mistakes. We all have moments we wish we could rewrite. But maybe the point isn't to erase them. Maybe the point is to see them as part of our story, the parts that give the story depth. So maybe it's time to stop chasing purity. Maybe it's time to start chasing what's real. Because in the end, being human, fully, unapologetically human, might be the most beautiful thing we can ever be. And that leaves me wondering, what about you? What's one thing you've learned to accept about yourself that used to make you feel insecure? If you want to keep exploring this idea, there's another story I think you'll love, one about how public figures survive fame without losing themselves. You can watch that next. But for now, remember this: you don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You don't have to be pure to be loved. You just have to be human. And that is enough.